Hey YouTube, it's the Cousin Dan. Today I'm going to show you how I clean my handguns. The reason I say it that way is because there are so many good methods out there. This is just the way that I do it. For my second method, I'm going to use my Bersa Thunder 45, a gun that I carry less often. This method is going to be a little bit more in-depth and it's going to closely resemble the way that I clean my shotgun and rifles. For the second method, I'm going to use a more extensive kit. This is typically used for rifles and shotguns, but this kit has bore cleaner and oil put together. The other thing that it has, of course, the brushes, just as the other kit does, but it also has the swabs. So I'm going to use the swabs as well. Make sure that before you do any of this work, you confirm that your chamber has been cleared. Just as with the other gun, the first thing I need to do is eject the magazine and then take out the barrel. Pull the spring, and it falls right out. Alright, so this is a 45, so I'm going to go ahead and use a different brush. I'm going to go ahead and use my, I'm going to go ahead and use my 45 brush. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take off my brush for the 380, put on my 45 brush, and I'm ready to go. I'm going to bring back the bore camera and have a look at what I'm working with. So we can see here, it's not too terribly bad, but it's certainly not as clean as it could be. As I rotate this around, there's also some buildup in the chamber as well. Alright, let's scrub it out. Same as before, I'm going to do a full pass through. Pull it back. This time I'm just going to go ahead and rotate as I turn it with the rifling. And as I did with the other gun, I'm going to go ahead and clean the chamber area as well with the short scrubbing. And then the feed ramp. Alright, let's see how it looks now. That's already quite a bit cleaner than what we started with. But let's go one more step and clean out both the chamber area and the rifling bore with some actual solvent. For the solvent part, I'm going to go ahead and use this piece and a little piece of this paper towel. I can go ahead and fold this in half and in half again so that it has something that can actually swab against the barrel, and then feed that through the tip of it just like I'm threading a needle. You can buy swabs for this as well, but I'm just going to go ahead and use a paper towel. That should be enough to touch all the sides. So now I'm going to replace my brush with this piece, open up this bottle of solvent, dip it in there. You can see that it's well saturated. Squeeze some of that off. I don't need quite that much. And then I'm just going to make a couple pass-throughs of this as I push it against the side of the barrel. So I'm putting lateral force in there and kind of moving it all around. It wasn't terribly dirty inside after the wire brush, but this is really going to give it that last little bit of clean. Okay, now that I have that done, I'm going to do one more attachment here. I'm going to thread in my swab and just take that for a couple pass-throughs, also pressing it on the sides. Alright, let's see how that looks. Wow, look at that. Look at how clean that is. That is beautiful. And in the chamber too. Gorgeous. Alright, so I got the barrel done. Now for the rest of the gun, pretty much going to be exactly the same as with the other cleaning method, except I'm going to get a little bit of solvent since I have it on the paper towel, and I'll take a little bit more time cleaning it since this is going to be a little bit more in-depth. I'm going to clean the slide grooves just like before, and this time I'm going to even try to clean under the levers and in and around the hammer itself. There's a lot of pocket lint in this one as well. I can use a swab for this part if it makes it easier. For the last step, I'm going to clean the groove of the slide itself. You can see I'm pulling some decent grime out of there. Now that I feel comfortable with the level of clean that I have, I'm going to put some oil back on. I'll go ahead and use this Remington oil since I already have it out. Same idea. I'm going to put a little bit on there and let it roll down. And then I'm going to put a little bit on the other side. Just a dab and let it roll down. I don't want to over oil this thing and make it a oily mess when I put it back together. But I want to make sure I get enough on there. I'm going to oil my firing pin as well. Let that soak down in there. And then the action portions of the lower. And then the hammer as well. Just a touch. If you really want to get in depth, you can do the controls, but you don't really have to do that. They're not going to move as much, but having some residual oil in there is going to be a good thing. All right, so just the same as the other one. I'm going to clean up a little bit of the excess. Drop that barrel in there. Put the spring in. Touch a tad bit of oil just on the top of the spring so that it feeds down that pin. And then got a little bit of excess over here. Kind of spilled out the ends, what I was talking about. And then I'll slide this thing back in place. And we're done. And that's how I do the slightly more in-depth cleaning of a handgun.